Hello there, Beelzebuds, and welcome back to another episode of The Devil's Cut, a podcast about all the things that go bump in the night. If they're spooky, scary, or spine-tingling, we're here to talk about it. I'm your resident man-boy possessed by the devil, Matt Young, and here with me, as always, is the skeleton everyone should want in their closet,
Eric Rossi.
How are we doing today, Eric?
We're feeling tormented.
Feeling tormented.
Feeling tormented.
I'm excited, actually, because this is a special episode because it's our second video game episode ever. And the first video game episode of the new year, so...
Oh, that's right, right.
We're getting it out of the way early so that we don't have to worry about it until next year again.
Yeah. One and done.
One and done. We did it. We did our duty for the video game industry. Once a year, we come together.
One review on a game that came out 2 years ago.
But yeah, today we are talking we're going back into the digital space, and we're at the cyber zone.
We're in the grid.
Oh shit, a light cycle! Yeah, we're gonna be talking about a video game today. This is by the name of Tormented Souls. So this is a game, survival horror game that we actually played live on stream on Twitch.
Yes, many nights.
Yeah, it was like four or five sessions, a couple hours each, so it really wasn't that bad. It's not a long game.
No.
But that doesn't mean that it's bad. Especially these days, video games have been getting really long. So kind of nice to play games that are they're less than 10 hours.
You're in, you're out, you got your story, you got your gameplay. That's
I know,
it.
I don't, imagine if you had to, run around, a huge open world with your nail gun in this game, and it's just, the map's just littered with dumb idiots who want you to fetch things for them, and it's like, oh, and if you collect all of the rat heads, then you'll get a little funny thing to look at the end of the game, you know?
If you manage to find all of the neck bolts and wheelchair springs, then you'll be set to go for the good ending.
Yeah, the Riddler's leaving trophies everywhere. No, it's nice to play, a shorter game every once in a while. But no, we did, yeah, so we played it live, and I had, a really good time playing this. Did you? I mean, you didn't play it, you watched me play it, but...
So, for me, I'm not, I never had the opportunity to get, super into survival horror games of this style, of, the Silent Hill, Resident Evil style, until later in life. So, it's kind of a blind spot for me, and it was really fun to see, a more modern approach to the genre,
yeah,
and just be able to kind of hang out for the ride. It has its stumbling blocks, but I think it is very fun, and I think anyone who likes that style of game would thoroughly enjoy this.
Yeah, and you're not alone in the excitement, enthusiasm for seeing a game of this style, with more modern touches and flourishes to it. Everybody was really excited about it when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, everybody goes apeshit every time one of those new Resident Evil remakes come out.
It's true.
So the thirst for that game is still there.
Yeah. So yeah, I really had a good time playing it. I think you're right. There were a couple missteps here and there, but really nothing that took away from the overall experience. No, it was fun.
I was glad to watch you play through it too, because I have the problem where if I walk through too many doors, I get blind. I get door blind. I forget where I am. I forget what I came in here for. It happens to me in real life. Happens to me in video games. I just get into a room and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Where am I?
Get up. I don't even remember.
So
there was a reason, right?
Yeah, after watching you traverse this, what is this setting? Is it a mansion? It's a hospital?
Well, it's actually an old Gothic mansion that was converted into a hospital.
Oh, how quaint.
So we're double dipping in this game in creepy locations, you know?
Yeah.
It's usually you're either at a creepy mansion or creepy abandoned hospital, but they were like, no, we got both for you in here.
We facelifted.
It does make the setting feel a little convoluted. It's almost too much sometimes, where you can, it feels like it's trying really hard.
I will say the environments are always very full of character. They
They're
have
jam-packed.
jam-packed full of props, jam-packed full of like ambiance, scenery, signage, all sorts of shit.
Yeah, it looks really good. I would say like the character models are a little goofy. But beyond that, like the environments look like really good. The monsters that you encounter look gross and really cool. That, you know, I can't really complain about it visually. I think it's like a fantastic looking game.
The only thing I will say, visuals, every once in a while they'll hit like opposing camera angles when you're like moving through the environment, because it's like you said, it's like the Resident Evil style of camera control.
It's a fixed camera.
Yeah.
Sort of like a style, and you just move your character around the environment, and it'll shift as it needs. The camera angle will shift to transition you to like a new, every time you go into a new room or a new part of like a hallway or something.
Yeah, there's a couple of those transitions that I was like,
well, it is
a little
rough.
nauseous.
It is rough because the controls of the game are like, if you're moving forward and then the camera changes, like your character can like, it's really easy to like start like accidentally like start going in a different direction.
Yeah.
And then it like sends you back to the other camera angle, and you're that's always been a problem with like the tank control fixed camera games, but you know, I don't really know how you avoid that.
You don't. It's disorienting.
It's why not many people do it anymore either.
Yeah. But I think they did a really good job of kind of like taking all of the like Silent Hill stuff, all of the Resident Evil stuff, and going like, all right, let's simplify and distill this down to like, 10 hours.
Yeah, I think that is about the length of it. So if anyone's curious, I think it's about 10 to 12 hours is the length of the game. But a little bit more backstory of the game. So Tormented Souls came out in 2021, I believe. 2 years. So 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
I think it came out like the tail end of 2021.
Okay.
It is.
You guys remember that? We were all in our houses.
We were all stuck in our house. For me, it wasn't stuck. I was like, I didn't need to leave. You know, I was allowed to stay in my house,
thriving.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out in 2021. It's developed by a studio called Dual Effect. I had a really hard time finding anything about them, and that's because like this was their first game. And their second game will just be the sequel.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for them.
The company was started by Gabriel Araneda and his brother. They're Chilean. Like most of the studio is, I think, Chilean workers.
Interesting.
They like collaborated with another developer from the UK, but I think most of the people who worked on this were Chilean natives. And apparently, like, just one day, like a couple years back, his brother was just like, hey, we should make a video game. And he was like, all right. And they learned how to make video games from YouTube tutorials.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Because it's like, I would say it's A- level of, like, polish on this game. Like, it's a very competent game for a first game.
Yeah.
Especially after learning everything on YouTube. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, eventually the company and the team expanded to like more and more people. So,
yeah.
It wasn't just the two of them, but I think it's really awesome to just be like, you know what? Let's make a video game. And then you just teach yourselves. And basically they got enough money together because like they made like a sort of like a demo, you know what I mean? Like it was like before the game was even really anything. They made like a short like
a tech
proof
demo
of concept.
Yeah.
Basically, and they got approved from like the government, the Chilean government. They got like a grant to like start the company. Wow. Essentially. And
we got to start researching grants.
I know, right? Like
fucking government's just throwing money at video games.
Apparently, well, the Chilean government.
We're moving. We're about to take this podcast international.
We're gonna take another break. See you in a couple months. We're moving to Chile.
We'll be back with a video game. Government money.
but so like basically beyond that, there's like no other information about them. I know the two brothers were really inspired by survival horror games of the past, like we've been saying, which we'll continue to say, because you have to like when you play this game, you like everything about this game is drawn from Resident Evil, Silent Hill. They said they were inspired by those two. The Fatal Frame series, which I don't know if you're familiar with.
Makes
Fatal
sense.
Frame.
Yeah, I know about Fatal Frame.
So all the classics. They even, when they were like coming up with sort of like the visual style and like tone of the game, they basically were like, listen, we like Silent Hill and we like Resident Evil, so let's make it like spooky Silent Hill stuff, but make it feel like you're playing Resident Evil. You know, so they wanted to take like the vibe of Silent Hill.
I mean, it feels like they hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
like I really like can't stress enough. Like everything from the interface to the things you're like interacting with, the environments, the progression through the game. There are some very convoluted solutions in this game, but
yeah, which we will definitely
I don't find them too far outside of the norm for like this genre.
Yeah, which we will talk about the puzzles and stuff.
Puzzles fucking galore.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much it. That's all I got for the company. Dual Effect, small time indie developer, small team, knocked out of the park. This is like a great first. Like I said, there's some issues here and there, but overall, I would, for me, and I played like a decent amount of these types of games and just horror games in general.
You've played a don't. He's being very humble, folks. How many of the Resident Evils have you played through on Twitch? All of them?
Almost all of them. Well,
I've played a few of these. Once or twice, I've picked up a controller.
well, you know what? It's actually interesting, and this is one thing I wanted to get into. A lot of the modern Resident Evil games don't like. They're not what this type of game is. Like Resident Evil has evolved past being so this game, this genre, the survival horror genre, is actually basically created by Capcom. Like the term survival horror wasn't a term until Capcom was using it to market Resident Evil. So while there were games, I'm sure that are similar and fit into that, you know, the term itself was coined by Capcom and by Resident Evil. But so for anybody who's like, you know, might not be like an avid gamer or doesn't play games at all, but you know, you're still listening, so you're
get out.
Interested.
We don't want to talk.
No,
to
you can stay. You can stay. Maybe we can get them to be a gamer. So survival horror to me is like a very specific genre. And sometimes a lot of games get called survival horror, but they're like not
way more action based.
Yeah, there's action horror, which a lot of games actually are. Like Resident Evil, I would say 4, 5, 6.
Evil Within.
Evil Within, yeah,
that's way more action than
survival. They're more action survival. They're less scary overall, I think. And also, it's more like high octane, like gunslinging.
Yeah,
you know? It feels less like you're like in as much danger. You know, those games are the original, you know, Resident Evil games and Silent Hill and other games like that. They're always really like oppressive and like they're very stingy with resources. Like you never get like you always feel like you don't want to shoot your guns.
Yeah, like you're just getting by the skin of your teeth.
Yeah, you're always just scraping by. And one feature that not all survival horror games have, but like this game does and Resident Evil does, is like limited save options. Like, so when you want to save your game, most video games you just go, all right, save, close, I'm done. But in these games, you have to, like, there's a resource. Like in Resident Evil, it's ink ribbons for like the typewriter. Yeah. In this game, it's tape for recording. And those are items that if you want to save your game so you can like leave and come back to it later,
gotta have.
Or if you die and get a game over, you want to like know where you have to spend a resource. And if you run out, like I guess you just got to beat the game in one shot. Like, you know. So that also adds a lot of pressure. And that's like I would say like limited resources, like maybe like limited saves, and slow movement, and like is another aspect of the games like that I would say qualifies it as survival horror. Like if you're like dodge rolling all over the place and like backflipping over zombies and shit, you know, like again, you don't, it's not as scary. So
yeah, if I can like Tony Hawk Christ air over a fucking zombie to get away from it, I don't feel like I'm in particular danger. But if I'm wearing clunky high heels and my stride is about 1.5 foot every time I take a step, yeah, I'm a little bit more reserved. Mm-hmm. I might be a little bit more precautious.
Yeah, and so, you know, while slow, like, clunky movement, I think the reason why the games were like that wasn't because, I don't know if it was necessarily a design choice, or just because of, like, the limitations of the technology back then. Like,
I think it was part and parcel. It was, like, a little bit of both. Because, like, the inability to just, like, run in any direction and run all over the place and, like, very comfortably, seamlessly, like, move your own camera around gives the player so much more control. And like, and in these games they really want to try and limit that down so that you feel like you have to work within their mechanics in a way that is very limiting. It causes you to be a little bit more careful and scared because you're like, fuck, I can't run fast.
Yeah, like a common term for this type of like control in a video game is tank controls, because it's literally like how you would like move a tank. You know, you have to, when in like Resident Evil and in this game, if you want to like turn around, you have to do like a K turn, like you're you know, like you gotta go forward to back up, then you know, and so that like you said, it makes it like difficult and tense and scary, especially if like there's a creature coming at you, you know, and you're like, fuck, I gotta scoot back forward back. I would love like a horror comedy movie to like be playing off video game like tropes and like have characters do stupid looking stuff like that, you know?
That would be funny as hell. I'm surprised we've never got a horror movie that was shot in this way, where like every time they enter a new room, the camera's different, and they're all like, "Oh, whoa, what the fuck?"
Well, yeah, I'm actually surprised we haven't had many. Do you know any like video game themed?
Not like, in the way that we're talking
horror
about.
Movies?
I think we have to. I think we have to write this in
like horror.
TM.
Yeah, some sort of horror comedy. That's I can't even think now that like the pressure's on me. I can't even.
The pressure's on. The spotlight's on.
I can't even think of a video game themed horror movie at all.
Gamer.
That's action. That's not a horror movie, right? I mean, there's a Shining sequence in Ready Player One.
No, there are some video game based horrors, but they're usually like, oh, I got sucked into the video game, or the video game's haunted. It's
well, there is
like...
one. Well, which is the what is the one where the whole thing comes from? If you die in the game, you die in real life. What one was that?
I
forget the name of that one. I know Dead Meat did a episode about it.
God damn, I can't remember it at all.
Yeah, I'm sure Spooky Wife will figure it out.
Stay alive. Oh.
Stay alive. Yeah, so it says a group of geeky kids, surprisingly not all living in their parents' basements, rude, stumble across an underground game. But that's the only one, and I don't think I've ever seen that one. But I literally can't think of any other ones. Frankie Muniz. Yes.
Hell yes.
You know what I just realized the other day? That Paul Giamatti was the guy who gets turned blue in that one Frankie Muniz movie.
Big Fat Liar?
Yeah, that's the one.
I just
this week realized that was Paul Giamatti.
That's crazy. I feel like for our age group, that's like the Paul Giamatti touchstone. That's like the genesis of Paul Giamatti for people our age.
I know Paul Giamatti from Billions. I totally forgot he was in Big Fat Liar. So I really like him from that and other shows I've seen and movies I've seen. He just got a Emmy, right? Wasn't he eating fucking Chick-fil-A or Burger King or something?
Yeah, he was at In-N-Out. He was In-N-Out.
That's what it was. I should have seen. It was California. Obviously, he's going to be at In-N-Out. Yeah, just sitting there, just like smashing a double and just like chilling with his
on
Emmy.
top of the world.
But yeah, I think it's an untapped market, the video game themed. Maybe it's because they've all been like bad.
Yeah, it's hard to get that off the ground, I imagine.
There was another one that was on Netflix too, which again I'm forgetting the name of, but it doesn't matter.
Unimportant.
Unimportant to this episode. Yeah, so that's like the genre we're working in, the survival horror genre. There's a lot of things that I have said that I think like make it what it is, and this game has all of them. It is like such a love letter to those old games. The two brothers and the whole team who made this, they just like it just bleeds through the whole game that like you can see how much love for the genre that they had. It's really good. So I guess like to get into the game itself now, the basically elevator pitch for the game is you play as this girl, Caroline Walker, who the entire time we played this game I could not remember her name at all. I kept calling her different C names.
She just looks like Lightning from fucking
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, she's just like cosplaying as a anime girl in a different video game.
She is a very anime protagonist design. A little over designed if you ask me, but she stands out. Like we'll remember her. Like if you see that costume, you know exactly. It does not fit the tone of the game at all.
Have we mentioned that this game takes place in Canada? This is how I imagine every
crazy.
Canadian girl looks like.
So I knew we knew from the writing in the game that English was not the first language of the people who made it. Just you can just tell there's like weird turns of phrase that they use and it just doesn't sound natural, so you can like tell that it wasn't they're not native English speakers. I thought what I was going to find out was that they were like French Canadians, and so that their first language was French, and that's why their English sounded weird. It feels very strange to me that this Chilean company was like, let's set our game in like right outside of like Quebec. Like I really thought, I was like, well, if they're they must be Canadian because they'll set it in. Why else would they set it in Canada? Not that like you can. I don't know. It just feels weird. I would have felt like I would write what I know.
They said nope, Canada.
Maybe they spent a lot of time in Canada. I don't know.
Good for them.
I wish I spent more time in Canada.
It's too cold. No, thank you.
I know you're a big baby when it comes to the cold.
That's fine. I'll go down to
which is wild because you
Chile,
grew up in Jersey, like in Seaside, where it's like during the winter, doesn't it get really cold down there?
Yeah, and it sucks.
You just think
did you think it'd be really cold and I'd be like, wee? No, it sucks.
I would just think you would not be as affected by it. Like you'd be used to it by now.
No,
You never got those scars.
Can't let it in.
I was one of those dweebs in high school that like would wear shorts and like short sleeve shirt just to like show that I didn't give a fuck.
I got news. You still do that now as an adult,
but not to prove like a point that I at the time I didn't even really know. I just was like, yeah, I don't need fucking jacket. Look, cold doesn't even bother me. I was like Elsa. Cold doesn't bother me anyway. No, but like now I just do it because I'm not that cold.
Our pro tag's not that cold either. She's flopping around in a dress and a leather jacket and a big ribbon and a bunch of belts and
a lot of
satchels,
leather jacket, a bunch of belts and
harnesses,
pockets and stuff, ribbons everywhere. But yeah, so the game stars Caroline Walker, who, while sitting in her like weird like dollhouse looking loft, she's sitting there. She gets a knock at the door and receives a letter with a photo of a set of twins, like young twin girls, that like instantly gives her a migraine, and so she goes, I have to figure out who sent me this migraine picture.
Gotta track him down. If somebody sent me a photo and the second I looked at it, I got a migraine, I would be like, all right, what is the return to sender?
Yeah.
I'm not going to investigate this photo. I'm going to go kick the guy's ass who sent me this. Fucking ruined a day.
Well, and so she decided, and there was also like a note that said like, you think something about abandoning.
Yeah, you can't leave them behind or some dumb shit.
You thought you would leave us behind. Anyway, cryptic note. photo of twins. She decides to go to where the photo came from, and it's a cartoonishly. It's like his spooky mansion on a cliff. Like, and it's always raining and storming. Like, it's his most, like...
It's on an island, too, right?
Yeah.
It's, like, isolated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is on an island. It looks like the abandoned hospital from Malignant, you know? Just, like, the most evil building.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder nothing operates out of here anymore. It was doomed because it's...
You built it scary on purpose.
It was built to have horrible things happen in it. It's one of those buildings we're dealing with. So Caroline, tracks the origin of the photo back to this creepy mansion on an island that's, abandoned. And while snooping around, she gets like 2 feet into the place. She gets knocked unconscious. She wakes up.
She gets clobbered good.
Yeah, she does get clobbered is the perfect word for it. And it's very evocative, that word.
Clobbered? Yeah, it's great. It sounds like you got hit over the head by, like, a coconut. Like, that's the sound it makes.
She wakes up in a bathtub naked with, like, a really long, like, breathing tube down her throat. Very phallic.
Unfortunate.
And she discovers she's missing, and her right eyeball has been plucked out, surgically removed.
Surgically removed is an interesting way to put it, because they show us the, like, open hole in her head.
And it's just...
It looks
just empty.
It looks like you popped an action figure's eye out. It's just like...
Yeah. It looks like she never had an eye there.
No, it's just this weird skin scoop out.
Yeah, the cleanest wound you've ever seen. And so... Basically, that's it. Now Caroline's in there, and she has to get out.
She's missing an eye. She's got to go.
You spend the rest of the game trying to get out of this mansion, while also, eventually you start solving a mystery about what's going on. Without, I don't want to spoil anything yet. We can get into spoiler territory in like a second. But that's like the basic premise of the game. So again, before we get into like spoiler stuff, if you're interested in playing the game, then maybe don't listen to the rest of this. Maybe stop and go play it and finish it and then come back. But
see you in 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I would say I recommend this game. I had a really good time.
I would too. Even just having watched it over shoulder on stream, it looked like a lot of fun. I think people who are a little bit more tapped into this genre would have a much easier go of it than I would, but I think it's still definitely worth your time and definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, so now we can get into some spoiler stuff, so this is your warning. Because I think where the game falls like the shortest is in its story. It just is very like basic, and also does not make sense a lot of the time. Like, there's some things that happen in the game that I just, like, it almost makes no sense at all. Like, they're not relevant to the plot, really.
I feel like it kind of works a lot of the times on, like, dream logic. Like, not just, like, the general story, but, like, everything going on in the game. Like, the like, rudimentary, cobbled together, like, weapons you use... the like mythos of what's going on with the monsters in the game, like everything kind of operates on this like nightmare logic where it's just like, oh, okay, it's that way because
just because so as you're like in the early stages of the game, Caroline's walking around, you stumble into a room at a certain point, and you meet one of the only characters besides Caroline in the game, and it's this priest who just gives you a nail gun that has like hydraulic fluid like canister attached. So it's like this like straight up pistol.
It's a nail gun that has its own compressed air tank that's like glued onto it. So you don't need a cord. You can just go out there and let it rip. It's modified so you don't have to like use actual nail gun rules. You can just shoot it like a gun.
Right. But she doesn't make the gun. This priest that's just like here, and she has no questions. You do get to ask him some things, but she never is like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what, do you know who took my eyeball? Do you know how to get out of here? She never asks him that. She just kind of goes like, all right, thanks for the nail gun. I can figure the rest out, I guess.
He's really bringing the drip to this fucking priest, because he's not, like, dressed up like a normal priest. He's got, like, this cool green, like, puffer jacket that's open, and he's got, like, all these huge, like, crucifix chains on. Like, he's got more than one crucifix on. He's, like, really fucking iced out.
Yeah, he's pretty wild. So he gives you that weapon, but then later on, you make your own, like, cobbled together weapon. But it's like, how does she know how to do this?
Yeah, there's nothing about this character that informs us like, oh, she's just like MacGyver. She can take a lead pipe and a rusty washer and a valve and turn it into a fucking shotgun.
I hope they like kind of upgrade the writing in the next game, and we do like they do start to carry, because she's basically a nothing character in this game.
I hope the opposite. I hope we
She
double
stays
down on
more-
Vague and we get crazier weapons. I hope she's like cobbling together like, you know, small scale grenade launchers with PVC. I hope she just really goes for it.
No, but I do too. I hope they make even crazier weapons. From what I've heard, that is the case. Is like you'll be making even weirder
yeah.
things. But I hope that they address that she just like. I hope she has a line where she's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't tell anybody last game, but like I've been crafting stuff my whole life. I just love to build things."
I picked up improvised weapon crafting at Girl Scout camp. Do they have Girl Scouts in Canada? They gotta.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. It does have I think there's an organization that's like the equivalent. I don't know what its name is though. But there has to be.
There's gotta be.
Yeah, but like, so there's that aspect. Like, she doesn't, we don't really know why she's able to do all of this, why she's so weirdly competent. That's never like a thing that's addressed. She, like I said, she basically is a non-character. She's just
She's
a
self-insert.
piece to play.
Yeah.
Not even a self-insert. It's just like it doesn't help that all the performances in like the voice acting is so bizarrely stiff in this.
It
that
is very flat.
We were all thinking it was like AI voices because it sounded like those TikToks.
It sounded like the fucking Instagram voice.
Yeah, it's so weird. But we looked it up. There are voice actors that are that have like IMDb's that are
They're credited.
Yeah,
they're
that's
people.
the word I
They're
was
credited
looking for.
people.
So I'm like, who was directing this? Why did it come out this way?
It almost sounds like she recorded everything on like what is it, Cameo?
Yeah,
Like they just sent her like $300 and was like, "Hey, can you read this whole paragraph line by line?" And it's just her lines.
That honestly wouldn't surprise me if that's how it happened. That's almost exactly how it sounds.
That's what Smiling Friends did to Gilbert Gottfried.
He got a lot of work on Cameo, that dude. When you have
Hell
like a
yeah.
really interesting voice like that, I feel like Cameo's like your space.
Hello.
Yeah, and then there's other things in the story, like, so one of the elements of the game which is cool, while you're exploring this mansion, like, and again, it's a mansion, an old mansion that at some point was converted into a hospital.
That aesthetic kind of makes it look like a very fancy train station. The combination of those two, there are like rooms and hallways where you're like, am I in Diagon Alley? Like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, so you end up with like a lot of rooms, that have like this like arcane, like bespoke Victorian like aesthetic with all the decorations, but then there's just like hospital beds and like bone saws all over the place.
Lots of IV bags floating around.
That's how you know it's a hospital.
Yeah.
So like while you're exploring the mansion, you come across like key items that are videotapes, like VHS tapes, and you can put them into this VHS projector, and then they show you like a still image of sometime in the past. Also, it's weird, this game takes place in like 2000 something, but all of the other events, like of the game that the game, it all feels like it's like ancient stuff, but it all took place in like the 80s, which feels weird to me.
Yeah, it was what 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah. Like it's just weird that it felt like the stuff that's being portrayed, like there's this whole cult like arc that's happening, this like subplot about this ancient like
Twin sacrifice ritual.
yeah, there's like this native like Inuit tribe called, I forget what they're called.
They're the Tismit tribe.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, that does sound familiar now. They like had this ritual where they would like sacrifice twins, and then like some other dudes like white dudes came along and were like, "Oh, blood sacrifice, we love that. That's cool."
From what I remember, they sacrifice twins every like before every new moon when there's no moon out. They have to like sacrifice twin blood to bring the moon back.
Yeah.
Which like, okay.
And then, but then the white people come along, and they're like, "Oh no, we'll just do it to summon like our dark lord." There's like a demon they're trying to like bring to, or like there's like an ancient god that they're trying to like awaken.
It sounds like white people. Sounds
Yeah.
like white people coming along and ruining things.
Yeah, they ruined it. They're like, instead of just like bringing the moon back, which is kind of sweet.
We
you
all
know,
love the moon.
minus the sacrifice, but like, you know, we like
Hey.
the moon. And but yeah, then these guys come around and they're like, "We got a guy to bring to life."
We
so
see what
fuck
you're
you."
doing here, sacrificing the twins. How about we make it worse?
But like, so you'll get these cassette tapes that are showing you like the hospital or the mansion like from the past, and then you can go through the projected VHS tape. You can go into the past and then like affect things in the future. So like there's a part where you find like a in the modern day you find a prison cell in the basement, and there's like these little kid bones in the cell. But then when you go to the past, you find that same cell and there's a little girl in it, and you find out that it's one of the twin girls from the photo.
From that photo that gave
sent.
you a big old headache.
And you like try to free her, so that you put like acid on the lock and then go forward in time, and then when you go back there to that prison again, there's no more bones because the lock was broken and the chick was able to get out.
Yeah, it's very like Link to the Past style, where you're like influencing events in the
Yeah.
past to like alter the future for yourself.
Yeah, it's cool. I like the I like the gameplay aspect of it, but it just didn't for the story. Why does this exist?
And I will say a lot of fucking reading to like parse out why things are happening in this game. Like, I would say more than most other survival horror games, reading the like notes and the journals you find along the way
very
are
important.
key to understanding what the fuck is going on around you.
Yeah, you'll basically get the game will be very confusing to you if you don't read all of the journal entries that you find, because they tell you all of the backstory. Without those,
You're fucked.
There's Caroline never talks almost at all, and there's like a creepy priest you have like 2 scenes with, and then the game is over. Like, you know, you do have to do a lot of reading. So if that's a turnoff, like it's a lot. So it didn't really bother me that much, but looking back on it, we were reading for hours. But yeah, so but that doesn't make any sense though, like, right? Because they never explain why there's a magic VHS projector that lets you go to the past. But then, so there's the time travel affecting the game world aspect. But then there's also these mirrors that you can go into that send you into like a mirror dimension that's not the past. It's just the upside down, where because like there's a scene where the priest
What do we
gets
call it? The inside out?
the inside out. It's the inside out. So you can go to the inside out. There's a scene where like the priest, you find him and something has. We haven't even talked about the monsters yet, but
We'll get there.
The priest like has had his arm chopped off. So you go into the mirror dimension and you find like a mannequin that's missing its arm, and you find the mannequin arm and you like staple it on, and then you go back to the regular world and the priest's arm is fixed.
He's right as rain.
And it's like, but why? So there's 2 different, like, there's time travel and dimensional travel, and having both of them is like a weird choice, you know? Because
Yeah.
I was while we were playing, I was getting confused as to whether or not like
We were in the past or the upside down. Yeah.
yeah. I seriously was like, wait, why did going to the past and touching a mannequin save this guy's arm? And then I later realized, oh, they're two different things. The projector sends me to the past. The mirror sends me somewhere else.
So shall we talk about our enemies, our gross monsters in this game?
Yeah, I actually really love the enemy designs in this game, and we've watched enough horror movies and played enough horror games and just video games in general that like it is hard to come up with a like monster or like creature design that is interesting or that we like haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And I don't know that these are like completely original, you know, like that there hasn't been anything like it before, but they're cool looking and pretty memorable.
And the sound design is really good.
Yeah, the game does sound good aside from the weird the weird voice acting.
Yeah.
But
like when those things start like so all of the enemies in the game are these like former patients who have been mutated by this like old god radiation that's causing them to fuse with like the medical equipment around them.
yeah.
So there are these like guys in like wheelchairs who have like spiky arms that are like flying down the hallway and like trying to get you, and then there's other dudes who have like weird extended like medically extended limbs, and they are really tall and they're not that scary, but they do fall down real good.
Yeah, there's, you know, there's the guys who have like fused with the poles on the wheels, right? So they're like these guys who are just torsos and like arms. And they like drag around this like pole, this like IV stand that they're like stuck on.
They're like they're hanging, they're like almost just torsos, right? They're
Yeah.
like from the ribs up and arms, but their head is fixed in a like Halo-esque device where their skull has like a big metal thing drilled into it, and then that thing
So
is
they're just-
suspended
yeah.
from a cord, and they're kind of using
They're just
their, like,
dangling.
yeah.
They're funny, but yeah. So like the
They are so goofy sometimes.
they're very goofy, but it just adds to the charm of the game. Really, it
Yeah.
doesn't take away. I think they're cool. Like you said, the god, this evil god that the cult, that as you're playing the game and you're finding all these journal entries, you're learning more about the history of this place. Like you learn about how there's like the twins that you came here to like find. I guess it's like Caroline wants to know
Investigate.
why. Yeah, she's investigating. Maybe she's an investigator. I don't know. We don't know anything about her.
She's not an investigator.
She might be after this game though. But yeah, so you find out that this hospital mansion is like owned. It's called the Wild Burger Hospital or something.
I can't believe they threw a burger name in here.
Yeah, it was
which was a lot of fun to chew on.
The Wild Burger like estate. So they're like this research hospital or something. It's owned by this one dude, whatever, like something Wildberger, and then he has a son, William, who's the dad of the twins, and then there's like the priest is the father of the twins' mom.
It's very convoluted.
It is a convoluted story, and so basically you find out that like there's like this cult that has been experimenting on like the people at the hospital, and they're trying to manufacture twins so they can reliably have like a sacrifice, you know, every however many years, so that they can summon their like dark god. But yeah, the dark god that they're trying to summon is like at the end of the game you go fight it, and it's like this big heart. It's like a big heart or like a huge organ of something that's like pumping, and it's like on a cross, and then it like mutates into a monster. But like it is a physical thing that exists, and it's like giving off radiation, like god radiation, that is, like you said, it's making people like sick, and then they like eventually start like mutating and fusing with all the equipment like with them.
I would say if these guys are not big neon Genesis Evangelion fans, I would be surprised because there is a lot of shared like imagery and like
the demon heart on the cross. It was like a huge Neon Genesis thing. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me even like a little bit to find out. But the monsters are all cool. What I will say though is that none of them are. Once you get over the initial scare of the like, if you can like get yourself into a mindset of like these things, like I just got to kill these things, like and fight them and don't be afraid of them, you really won't be afraid the rest of the game.
No. Because
once I realized that I could just nail gun everything, the game is a little looser than I think I would like with the ammo store. Like it pretty much kept me supplied so that I could kill every enemy in the game.
Yeah.
And I had plenty of ammo left over.
But I mean, ammo reliability aside, I think as to where some of the other like predecessors of this genre like really shine is you have like a much bigger variety of enemies. And I feel like a lot of the enemies in this game kind of all move at the same speed and really telegraph their wind up to where like if you're in the way of these attacks, it's really 100% you not paying attention. I think this game, scare-wise, could have benefited from some people who move a little bit faster and maybe don't do as much damage. Or just like some variety where it's not always the same like clomping metallic husk of a person.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is like while there are a bunch of different enemy types, they are all functionally the same. Like their hitboxes might be kind of different, but basically almost every enemy in the game you can they could all be the same thing and it wouldn't like change anything.
And they do have one of those like what the fuck is his name in Resident Evil? Not Professor X.
That's Mr. X?
Mr. X, yeah.
Yeah, or Nemesis.
Yeah, they do have like a big scary thing that kind of like roams the premises and like can pretty much
it will one shot you. Basically, they have a monster that it's like this big, lumpy. It looks like if you rolled the Michelin Man through like an oil slick
and then drowned him, took his corpse out.
Yeah, basically. That's kind of like what this creature looks like. And it just like, when you get like, I'd say a quarter of the way through the game, it starts showing up. Like if you enter a room, you'll hear like a creepy musical sting. And then
like,
it'll start...
Very loud musical sting.
It'll start coming after you. And if it touches you, you die instantly. So that's scary. It's a really effective mechanic in horror games. Like every Resident Evil game has done it, basically.
It would be more effective if it didn't just despawn when you turned around and walk out and walk back in.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing. So basically, when you enter a room, there's just like a chance of this enemy spawning. Wherein, in the Resident Evil games, I can't speak for like what Nemesis does in the like PS1 versions.
Yeah.
But in like the modern versions of the games, anytime there's one of these Nemesis type enemies, they like are persistent in the map and they walk around and they will like stumble into you.
Yeah.
But in this game, that the technology is not that advanced. There's just a chance that it'll spawn, so you can just leave a room and come back in. And if it shows up, you can leave, come back in, and it'll most likely be gone. And you just don't. I don't think beyond the first time we saw it, I don't think we ever saw the thing for the rest of the game, because I would just hear the music and just be like, I don't want to fuck with this.
I think we ran like into it enough to see it maybe 3 times in our whole game, but that's because we realized so early, like, oh, we can just walk out and it's gone.
Yeah, I'm sure you see it more if you're like speed running the game, because like how much time did we waste just going in and out of rooms?
Wait, can we talk about speed running it for a second? Because when we started playing it on the stream, we played for like a half hour and then did not save and you died. And then we had to replay that whole section, and you ended up doing this to us, I think 2 or 3 times, where you like played to a certain point and then died without saving, and we were like, fuck, we gotta do the whole intro over again.
I got really
and by
good
the
at
third
that
time
intro,
you got it down to like, I think sub like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it was really fast, and you weren't the
I
only ones, because I was watching Oni once play it, and they did the same thing. They played about a half hour, died, and they were like, fuck, we didn't save. And they had to go back, did the same thing, just under 15 minutes, I was like, damn, it's not just us.
Yeah, I actually do want to go back in and try it again. Well, because we didn't get the good ending when we played.
That's right.
'Cause
We fucked up one tiny thing.
We fucked up a thing and ruined the whole ending for ourselves. We got the worst ending.
That's
'Cause
the worst?
There's 3 endings.
Oh, I thought we got the mid
No,
the
we
mid
got
one.
the worst one.
Oh, fuck.
We're
failures.
I know. So I kind of do want to go back in and like see if I can like really like.
How can we even call ourselves gamers?
Yeah, I was thinking like, you know, maybe one day I'll try to speedrun something. Like just try to even get on the board, you know?
Yeah.
On speedrun.com, get like top 5 in something. Some obscure thing that I'm like, I like this game enough to like waste a bunch
It'll
of
never be
hours.
popular enough for somebody really good to come fuck up my score.
That's what it's about.
You like fucking speed run like a SpongeBob Game Boy Advance game that like 5 people bought.
I was watching a streamer a couple weeks ago. She was speedrunning this like weird Beauty and the Beast game that was like from Sega. It was like a Sega Genesis Beauty and the Beast game. She was like, I used to have the top score and then somebody beat my run, so I'm gonna try and beat theirs. And it was a really weird game because it was just like it was a 2D side scroller and you're just Belle like running. Like from you start in the town and you literally run right until you're like at the castle, but the game just ends. The final part of the game is the ballroom dance. The like
Weird place to end.
the game just ends there, like, and that's the end of the game. I'm like, you know, that's like only halfway through the movie, right?
That's like a quarter to the story.
It just feels like did Sega like run out of money and they were like, oh, not enough to finish the movie. Guess the game stops here.
They were banking on part 2.
Yeah, that they.
They were like, they're gonna eat this fucking
They're gonna love
up.
this sequel.
They're gonna be burning down our doors to get the sequel.
But yeah, so the creature designs were good. They just weren't.
Visually good, mechanically lacking.
Yeah, they just weren't as.
They're
They're
not
not
threatening.
difficult.
They're not
that-
threatening.
They're not threatening.
No.
Even when you do fight. Oh, and there's no bosses. There's one boss at the the final boss of the game. I could have done with a couple more like big, unique encounters.
You know what? While we were playing through it, hadn't even noticed that. Didn't even occur to me. But you are right. There are no like big boss, like big staged like boss fights.
There's just the one.
Honestly, I think the game would extremely benefit from, because it would kind of break up some of the running around to like room after room after room.
Yeah.
Be
I
interested
think
to see
so.
what they do for the sequel.
It's going to be bigger in like all ways. I think that you're going to have a lot more creative like weaponry. You're going to have like probably be able to like make custom modded like weapons and stuff. Like in this game you make a shotgun by finding like 2 different shotgun parts and they're just pipes.
Yeah,
And there's like a staple gun as the trigger.
Yeah, there's a staple gun and 2. There's like an elbow joint and a straight pipe, and that's it.
And then somehow she turns that into a shotgun.
She's fucking MacGyver, man.
She
I hope
is.
we find like string, toothpaste, a lighter, and something else, and make a flamethrower in the next one.
That would be awesome. But yeah, so like everything's gonna be bigger. I think there's also gonna be. It's gonna be much more varied location wise. Like I think you're gonna be doing a lot more portal hopping and like visiting different places and times.
That'd be
and
fun.
shit. It's gonna be like Turtles in Time, bro.
Oh shit!
That would be cool.
We get a girl ninja in on this one.
And I think the combat is one thing, but I think the other like biggest, and I guess this would also be important for just the genre as well, is just having like puzzles everywhere for no reason.
Yeah,
It's very important to just have nonsensical puzzles, like be how your whole building operates.
yeah. Like if this was a real world hospital, people would be dying every single day because you'd be like, "Fuck, where's the 6 other parts of this key I need for this door?
Yeah, I can't get into the.
Why does this lock have pictures on it? What the fuck is this riddle?"
We need to get this guy up to surgery stat. Oh, but somebody lost the 3rd piece of the surgery room key.
Fuck, do you guys understand this riddle? I don't understand what the pictograph means. I'm just a fucking front desk guy.
Yeah, so that's like one of the mainstays of this genre is like there's just, it's fighting monsters and solving puzzles. That's like the gameplay. It's been in every Resident Evil game. In this game obviously, but like other games do it too. For whatever reason, they like, for example, Resident Evil 2. That whole game takes place in a police station. Just a police station. Now, just like this building in this game, it was at one point like a library or something. It was converted. It was like the police station in that game was originally a different building. They got converted into a police station. But that being said, it's still like that whole police station, in order to get from like one room, like that police station has a bunch of doors that only have one key, and they're all labeled with colored playing card symbols and like have keys that match this. What police station why would you operate like that? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, can you go get the yellow card and the big stick and the little key and then the tumbler so we can get into evidence?
Yeah, instead of like a guy having just like a ring of keys, you have to be like, oh, like, call in like Frank and John because they have the two halves of the moon and sun crest, and we can't get to the break room unless we put it. It's like that's what that whole world is like. And honestly, I kind of wish I wish that was our reality. Just we were constantly having to do puzzles.
I'll tell you what.
If my life was just an escape room constantly, I'd be really excited.
I guarantee you there were lock makers back in the day who were really putting some shit together, and they were like, man, I can't wait to see what it's gonna be like 100 years in the future when everyone needs a ring full of keys to get into a single door. There's gonna be locks on locks on locks.
I'm just obsessed with locking things.
Yeah, just convoluted ass locks. Like, all right, this one needs a slug, and you gotta solve the riddle, and you gotta learn how to do this crossword puzzle. Then you can open up the cabinet to get the Cheez-Its.
Yeah, like, it makes sense when like everything is a puzzle in like a game like God of War, where it's like ancient Greek like like creatures and gods and like everything's. But you're just, like I said, you're literally just in a house. Why do you need to put together like a 6-headed dragon statue and all of the heads of the dragon are scattered to the corners of the house? And it's like, I just wanted to use the microwave. That's what living in these worlds would be like. It doesn't make much sense. But it is a staple of the genre.
It's like dream logic shit.
Yeah. I wouldn't have it any other way, though.
No,
I'm
absolutely not.
Poo-pooing it. It's one of my favorite aspects of the whole genre. It's just, you have to point it out, though. You can't sneak around that one. I will say, though, the puzzles in this game, some of them are like crazy obtuse. I don't know, maybe that's just like a translation, kind of like a lost in translation sort of thing. Like, maybe the puzzle logic is like just different. Is that like a thing? Like, do different cultures like solve puzzles differently? Like,
I mean, I'm sure they have different.
Like, are some like parts of the world better at solving certain types of puzzles than others? Like,
probably.
Can cultural like thought?
I mean, how many people in America
like
were doing Sudoku like fucking 30 years ago?
That's true. Yeah.
None.
Interesting. I gotta like watch some. I gotta go down like a YouTube hole about that.
International puzzle solving. Yeah. All right, Carmen Sandiego.
I'm gonna find her.
You're fucking indie Carmen Sandiego, and the guy from Uncharted have the same fucking YouTube algorithm. Like, oh fuck, guys. New French puzzle box.
Oh my god! Can we get like a TV show? I would love if we could get the what's the Venture Bros? If we get like that guy to do like a show that's just like for like like Indiana Jones, Lara Croft, Nathan Drake. It's just like 4 crazy like treasure people, and they just like are stuck together, and they have to like and they're constantly trying to like out puzzle.
It would never get past the fucking pilot because those characters are always so busy measuring their own dicks against each other.
I would love that. You know what? I think we could just do that for a lot of genres. Same with like this, like a survival horror game where you can like GTA switch between like 4 different people who are just constantly like mouthing off to each other about how good at surviving they are.
Check it out! I solved this door key in 5 seconds.
But yeah, but back to what I was saying. The puzzles in this game are like super obtuse. Like there were some things that we straight up. I'll admit it. We had to look it up because I was like, I'm never gonna figure this out.
No.
There was one puzzle that got me like really heated. It was like this puzzle that was like it was like Morse code mixed with like you had to look at these like TV images or something, right?
That one was infuriating.
Or am I mixing two of them?
No.
There was a Morse code puzzle at some point.
No, that it was the TV one, and then there was a set of numbers, and you had to like match. You had to like specifically scroll through the images till you found a blank one, and then count out like each image to like form a code. It was dumb.
It was honestly so confusing to me, and like Heather was trying to like walk me through it without spoiling. She was like, I'm trying to help you get started, but like I didn't want her to spoil it for me. But like secretly in the back of my head, I did want her to spoil it for me. I just didn't want it. You know, I was getting so mad because I'm like, I don't understand how this works. There were like some ones that some puzzles that like really were out there, man.
My favorite, I forget who it was in chat, but somebody in our chat was like a fucking pro at this game. And dropped in and was like, oh, hey, by the way, if you just like walk around that like random piece of furniture in the middle of this room 3 times and then do this other thing, a painting will fall off and you'll find a shotgun. You're like, what?
Yeah, well, how would I ever have
Why would I know that?
out? Although, you know what? There's a fight like midway through the game where the first time you fight one of those really big elongated bone dudes.
Yeah.
But the way you start the fight is you just like walk in circles around the guy and then eventually he wakes up. But while I was like researching the game and I was like watching like some story breakdowns, remember how much we were like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
But turns out it does if you just remembered, if we had remembered like one of the many journal entries that we had read. There's a whole description about how the cult in the game used to bring people back to life by like lighting a like fire and then dancing around the body like 3 times. And then also there's like another thing where you see earlier in the game before
you
that
see that guy
you see a guy walking around.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, so it did make sense. We just weren't paying enough attention. But that's like, there's just so much content to read in the game that you almost like you forget things because you're like, you've read so much, and a lot of it is like filler nonsense. It's all journal entries from all the different people that are like only really get vaguely interesting towards the end of the game when all the big twist happens. So
and
like,
they do.
Do we drop the twist?
There are so many characters that exist in this game solely through text. I think there's maybe like what 4 actual character models in the game that aren't monsters.
Yeah, there's the priest, there's you, and then there's the
little girl.
The little girl and the body of the dad who's at the desk at one point in the game.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, there's 4 character models. Yeah, it's crazy. But do we, like, drop the twist of the game? The big, like, reveal?
Yeah, I think if they've made it this far, they want to know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, so basically, you find out that you are one of the twins from the photo that you received, like, and the other girl was your sister, and your sister is also the little girl that you released from the cage when you were back in time. And like you through all the journal entries, you like read about how
I just had a fucking revelation.
What?
If we went back in time and let that girl out, does that mean our sister is gonna be alive in the sequel?
Yes. No. Well, so at the end of the game, you go. So we got the bad ending. because the ghost, the Michelin Man ghost that's been following you around,
Yeah.
that's your twin sister. She got mutated by the god radiation and turned into this monster, right?
She floats around like Baron Harkonnen, and it's very funny.
It's really funny, dude. It's exact. I mean, that character looks like Baron Harkonnen. So
Yeah.
I guess Michelin Man looks like Baron Harkonnen too.
Yeah, true.
But earlier in the game, you find a vial of something that's just straight up labeled antidote, and we forgot that we had it. And there's like a point where your sister's like big blubbery body is like she's like hooked up to a machine, and you can. What you're supposed to do is give her the antidote, and then she unblobs and then turns just back into your twin.
That's a hell of an antidote.
But then she dies.
Ah, fair.
But we didn't do that. So at the end of the game, when we leave, we kill the god and we leave the mansion. Right before you leave, we got jumped by the ghost and killed.
Yeah, I remember.
So that's the non-canon ending. The official ending is you cure the ghost. She turns back into your sister. She dies. Then you grab the bolt cutters that were hidden behind where she was, and you go and kill the god. Then you go and
go back into the past.
You go back into the past, and instead of because what happened is you released the little girl from the cage, but she still got stuck, and then she still got stuck in the mansion and got turned into the ghost. So instead of just waiting for her to get out, you go and you're like, fuck it, forget the acid, and you chop the bolts off, and then you take your now child twin and you bring her through to the future.
Oh, that can't be good.
And then leave with her. So in the second game, you and your twin sister, who's 10 years younger than you.
Wow.
And that's what the second game is dealing with, I guess.
I'm very excited for this sequel.
Also, you find out. So, in the basement of this building, there is a big, steel door. So this building is ancient, and the further down into the basement you go, that becomes more medieval, dungeon. There's stone walls and sewers and everything. But just in the middle of the basement area, there's a modern technology steel door with retina scanners.
Oh yeah.
Why is that there? I don't know. But apparently, in order for the priest that's there betrayed you. He's the one who set the whole thing up.
Surprise! The church is a villain.
Yeah, he wanted to summon. He was a priest, but a priest of this elder god that they're trying to resurrect. But so the only way that he can get to the god, the big heart that you fight at the end of the game, is to open up this door, this strangely technological door in the middle of this medieval torture dungeon. And it can only be opened by two eyeballs that share the same genetic code.
Twins.
So twins. That's why they need twins.
Twins, Basil.
But so am I to believe that this, what did aliens put this door here? They've always needed twins to use the retina scanner, even in the 80s?
Maybe they just upgraded it. Maybe they were like, you know what, we need to beef up security. I saw Mission Impossible. Let's get some retina scanners in here.
Any sense? But anyway, it still doesn't stop. I liked this twist though, regardless of how stupid it was, because you find out that your eye was plucked out in the beginning of the game by yourself, because in order to finish the game and save your sister and everything, you have to get through the door. So you have to go back in time through the cassette thing, and then you find your body in the bathtub that you wake up in, but you're like, I'll cut out my eye now.
Scoop that eyeball out.
You have to bring your eyeball from the past to the present, so that you can you can dangle the eyeball in front of one retina scanner and use your other eye on that one. And it's so convoluted and stupid that I just loved it.
Wait, I remember you have to find a fishing line and a hook,
and you have
to dangle your eyeball because you have to stand on the other side of the room. So fucking funny. Where did you say these guys were from in South America again?
Chile.
Do you think because there's an obvious twin experiment thing going on. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you think this is a South American Nazi influence on this story? You know how like after World War II, a bunch of them went down to like Brazil and stuff, and that's where they think Mangala went.
Yeah, I do.
Do you think there's part of that like story influenced in the like, oh well, they're experimenting on twins to do this thing?
I don't know. I don't think
Are
so.
they twins? Are the brothers twins? No.
Not as far as I know.
Okay. I might be stretching.
It
but
could be.
It
That would
just
be-
kind of like jogged my memory. I was like, oh yeah.
That would be interesting. That'd be cool if they were twins and they wrote this whole story about twins. But I guess now it doesn't matter because at the end of the game you're twins, but you're really different ages. So what does it matter? You know, you're
Still
basically
counts.
just sisters now.
Still counts as twins.
Here's my twin. She's orphan.
If I had like a child twin right now, I'd be like, hey, here's the deal. We need to capitalize on these genetics for you. I know what happened when I did this. You need to do this differently. We need to start a different diet. We need to start brushing everything. Everything needs to get brushed more.
But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much the game. I for the most part, there's obviously we've been joking, and like really when it comes to the story, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. That still didn't take away pretty much anything.
You could
from my
say the same thing
experience.
about the Resident Evil games.
They're all ridiculous too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they're not like. I think honestly, I think like a janked up, like confusing story is kind of like required.
Yeah, because it pushes you through a lot of this narrative because you're like, what the fuck is going on? I need to figure out what the fuck is going on.
I think honestly, it all the shortcomings, what they are, it still comes together in a pretty compelling story. It's a little predictable, it doesn't make a lot of sense in a lot of places, but like it's fun and it sets up like I think what they did establish sets up like a really cool sequel. So
Yeah.
I think the next one's gonna be like bigger and badder.
Do we have a release date for the sequel yet?
Comes out this year. I think it comes out in like April or May, something like that.
That would be a fun one to look forward to on the stream, on the Twitch stream, because we're
Yeah.
definitely going to be playing that.
Yeah, again, like we've been having some fun with the game, but it's a really good time. I loved almost every second of the game except for that one puzzle that really pissed me off. But besides that, I liked every other part of the game. I plan on it has a lot of replay value. I think just because like it'll feel good. Like I'm gonna play it again sometime soon, just because now that I like know everything, I'm gonna feel like a fucking like nail gun master. I know all the puzzles. I'm gonna zip through. It's just fun. I just like being in the setting. It's really pretty to look at. And it has just like a good vibe. Also, I would say if you're like a not really like a horror game player, or if you're like not really a big fan of this specific genre, I think it's like a good intro to horror and intro to survival horror games.
Yeah, it's uncomplicated mechanically enough that it'll be easy to dip your toe in and not feel like, oh my god, I'm completely fucking like lost in this game. I have no idea how to do anything.
And the nice thing is the tank controls are optional. If you want to do tank controls, you use like the D-pad.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, but if you want to just like have more like fluid movement, you can use the joystick, and it's like a more modern control style.
Damn. That's cool. It's cool to integrate it seamlessly.
Yeah, that's
like
why
that.
I'm saying it's a nice intro to the genre because it has all of the benefits of being a modern game.
Yeah.
And they're specifically holding themselves back like to make it like fit like feel older, you know?
Yeah.
But you still get all the quality of life that's come with, you know, like the 40 years of of game development. So I'd say like if you're not usually into this genre, like maybe give this one a shot if you're still like if you like want something spooky to play but like don't know where to start.
Again, not a huge time sink.
No, it's super quick too.
It's not
breezy.
particularly stressful. It's pretty breezy.
It doesn't really overstay its welcome. I had a really good time. It's probably one of like my favorite horror games that I played in recent years. It's just like it was uncomplicated where it counted, and it was like extremely complicated in a way that made it fun TV, to say the least.
I'm really excited. This game kind of got me like really jazzed for some of the other games in this genre that I know are kind of like on deck for us streaming, like Parasite Eve and like some of the other like older styles of this type of game. I'm really excited to see like what the building blocks were that really like came together to make this game.
Yeah, so we've already worked our way through the Resident Evil games on stream. But yeah, on deck is the Silent Hill series, which is, you know, what this game was super inspired by that. There's the Fatal Frame games. Clock Tower, I think, definitely has shares some DNA with this, or this shares it with that. Clock Tower is like a crazy. Honestly, you should look up some screenshots from Clock Tower, because in some of them you play a very similarly designed like protagonist.
Oh my god, really?
And there's also like the one of the mainstays of that series is there's like a creepy like gangly old dude with a giant pair of scissors that chases you around, which some of the enemies, like the wheelchair enemies in this game with the knife hands, really reminded me of him.
Oh man. Well, you're not nearly as over-designed as this lady. But there is a lot of really cool fucking fan art for Clock Tower.
Yeah, there's also the Alone in the Dark series.
Oh, look at these big scissors.
I'm telling you, the big scissor guy. And we're one that I definitely am looking forward to is I really want to play the Dino Crisis games. I've never played them before.
What?
Yeah, I never had them. I didn't have a PS1 growing up. I went from Super Nintendo to N64 to GameCube. I was like Nintendo, like I was like fucking Nintendo ambassador when I was a little kid, which is really funny. Which is really funny now. I've like gone. I'm like. I've entered my dark era, you know, like where I've done the heel turn, you know. Me and Nintendo, we used to be partners, and then I like betrayed him in the tag team match, you know. I used to love Nintendo, and now they piss me off every chance they can get. Although if you do like Nintendo and you have a Switch, this game is out on the Switch. I think it's pretty much any console. It's out on PC and like all the consoles, so you can play it anywhere, and it's only $14.
Very affordable.
It's awesome. Like if you like, there's so many worse ways you can spend.
For a 10-hour game, that's pretty good.
So many worse ways to spend $15 and 10 hours of your time.
I spent $15 today on 5 things of cat food, 1 thing of sour cream, and a can of spray paint. So this game is way better.
Tormented Souls instead. Yeah. That's Tormented Souls. Also, that's, you know, maybe a genre of video games that you guys weren't necessarily familiar with. Hope, you know, we could, like... Or
if you were familiar with maybe the heavier hitters of the genre, there are a couple, you know, walks in the park that aren't necessarily the big 3.
Yeah, I hope we can get more people to play this game. There's a sequel coming out, so it didn't need... you know, that much help. It obviously did well enough. But I want people to get the sequel and be like interested. I want some more buzz when that one comes around, because I feel like this one kind of went slept on for a while.
I mean, I didn't know about it until you brought it up.
There you go. But yeah, so that's the game. Anything else, man?
Yes. Some news that I'm sure a lot more people have caught on to now came out right when we started recording the last episode. It's a little frankincense update. The lead role for Frankenstein's monster in the Guillermo del Toro movie has been replaced. It is no longer Andrew Garfield. Spider-Man be gone. They're bringing in
It was Andrew Garfield?
Correct.
Weird.
Now it is heartthrob Jacob Elordi.
Ooh,
fresh off Saltburn.
So honestly, I'm way more excited about Jacob Elordi.
I'm super interested because he looks like a lot skinnier than he used to be. Fucking big. That dude used to
Euphoria.
Yeah,
season 1.
He was big in Euphoria, but now he's like looks like he's like really slimming down, and like. I'm very interested to see what his physique is going to lend to Frankenstein, considering he's like, what, 6'5"? He's already huge.
I'm just preparing myself for, like, all women to be, like, so horny for Frankenstein for the next couple of years. You know, like, he is going to turn Frankenstein into, like, a sex symbol for...
I got news. Frankenstein is already a sex symbol.
Who is horny for Frank?
Are you kidding? The monster fucker community is like, Frankenstein, let me get at it.
Well, it's only gonna get worse then.
They're gonna be feral for Frank.
Frankenstein's gonna be a powerful totem.
What else? I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that we've been posting in the Discord. Let's see here. Oh, Longlegs. This week we got teaser number 3 for Longlegs, which, if you don't know, is Neon Studios' serial killer Nicolas Cage, very cryptic and weird movie that they're rolling out. I cannot wait. The day we get a fucking release date for this movie, I'm getting a cake. We have seen some talk trickling down about the Pinocchio Unstrung movie, which is the horror Pinocchio from the same people as Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Right. So this is part of their little MCU style horror universe.
Yes. And I think the last big thing of buzz this week was that they've announced that they are working on the beginning steps of a live-action Until Dawn movie, which is hilarious and crazy because
it honestly doesn't really make much sense to me. Because the game, if you guys aren't familiar with Until Dawn, it's a PS4 horror game. But it's from this style of games where they're more like just playable movies, where sort of like the movie happens, occasionally you'll like move a character around a scene for a little bit, but for the most part you're pretty much on rails as like you're just watching a movie unfold, and then like something will happen and you have to like press X to run really fast, or
it'd be like a quick time event,
Yeah.
or like a series of things where you have to try and either get the character to survive the scene that they're in, or you could intentionally
you have to like
tank
pick
them.
what they say and stuff. But yeah, you're trying to keep these the characters alive to the end of the game, as many as possible. But for the most part, it's essentially a movie you're watching, and to the point where the company that made Until Dawn and like it's like kind of like spiritual successor
The
games,
Dark Pictures movies.
they all cast like actual actors and actresses. Like, and I mean, what I mean by that is like well-known like Hollywood like entities, like
on-screen actors.
Yeah, like the main like the poster face for Until Dawn was Hayden Panettiere. You know? So like that. We're not talking about like just like you're like a voice actor. We're talking about like actors, and they put him in these crazy mocap suits, and they use their likeness in the game. So like Hayden Panettiere's character in the game just looked like Hayden Panettiere, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, why are we making a movie of a game that was like already a movie, and also like it was Hayden Panettiere was in the game, like it was already a movie.
Here's what they have the opportunity to do the coolest thing a horror movie has done in decades, where just like Across the Spider-Verse, how like there were different cuts of the movie put out in different parts of the country, where like scenes were slightly different, or like reactions to like different things were slightly different. I would love for them to film like, okay, in this cut, in this cut, no one dies. In this cut, everyone dies. In this cut, just this guy dies. Because you can still do the same. It's like the same thing as a game. You can kind of like, each character has like their own little like modular death scene, so that you could like kind of like plug in and out on whether or not they're surviving, and do like some really crazy shit with this movie.
That would be awesome. It kind of like the Clue thing, where they ship out different. They had like an ending for each character, like each different piece was the killer. They had, and nobody got like the same. Everyone was like watching the movie, and and can't believe Mr. Green did it.
There are cuts of Clue. There are cuts of Clue where like they show you like, oh, this is what the movie would be like if this person did it, and this is what it would be like if this person did it.
Yeah,
that'd be rad. I would love to see that.
That would be
together.
Really cool.
They're definitely not going to do it because it's too cool. It's way too cool.
It is too cool, but it is. Who's it being produced by?
Let me double check.
Blumhouse?
I don't think so.
No?
So it's the director and writer from Annabelle Creation.
Oh, right. I remember talking about this because I was like, well, Annabelle Creation was the good one.
And it looks like it's Sony, so whoever Sony decides to partner up with on getting this done.
It's just like I hope something interesting. Like I hope they do something interesting with it like that. I just don't want it to be basically just like a playthrough of the game again. You know,
I would love to see them cash in on a shot-for-shot remake.
Like just pick an ending of the game and just shoot it. Like,
I think that would I think
that's the most likely.
It is the most likely and is the laziest way to do it. But I kinda would love to see them pull it off.
Just to
throw it out there, like, hey, we remember that thing you all did? We did it too.
It would be so weird, like especially because they're not like are they going to cast the same?
We don't know,
right?
We don't even know if they are going to cast the same characters.
They all are going to be like so much older now. It would be weird because they're supposed to be like teenagers.
They're supposed to be teenagers, but it's a scenario that you could easily explain away adults into. Also,
I know, but I don't know. I am not. We'll go see it, but I'm not putting any expectations of it being good.
That's fine. You made us see Night Swim.
Hey. Night Swim had...
Look at her rolling her eyes.
Night Swim had some stuff.
Baseball. It had some baseball in it.
Some baseball. But alright, that's it for this week. That's Tormented Souls. You can watch our playthrough of Tormented Souls if you go to the Twitch channel. That's what is the URL? How does the URL of it's like Twitch TV
Twitch?
or / Matt X Young?
That was it. I think that was it.
/ Matt X Young. Should we like change the Twitch name to like have the Devil's Cut in it at some point?
It'd probably be good for branding.
Yeah. Well, for now though, that's what it is. It's Matt X Young. Yeah, join. Follow. You can actually find the link to the.
It's in the link
Twitch
tree
channel down below.
Yep.
Join the Discord. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. And chat with us. If you guys want to hear us talk about more video games, if there's a game you want us to cover, if there's movies you want us to cover, we're open to suggestions.
Yeah, we're interested to hear what you guys want to hear about.
As always willing to at least hear you out. You know, if you pick some weird ass shit, we might not cover it. But at this point, I don't know. Maybe we will.
So next week that's our week off for next week, and then we'll be coming at you strong in February with tons and tons of fun stuff. The season of love.
The pinkest month of the year. Well, I guess that's October.
October's the pinkest month of the year? Is that what you just said?
It's breast cancer
awareness.
Breast
cancer awareness. Okay, that makes sense.
But I guess there is the conflict, because then it's also spooky season, so...
I think of it as the most orange
of
seasons, or orange of months.
Yeah, so I guess we can give pinkest month to February.
Makes sense.
But yeah, we're going to be covering
some of your Valentine's Day favorites.
Yeah. We're doing My Bloody Valentine. We also have Lisa Frankenstein coming out at the beginning of February. So that's going to be really exciting.
But yeah, until then, keep it real.
Yeah. Catch you later, guys.